Motivation, I don't believe in motivation at all, because
I've
been motivated many days, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm hella depressed, I'm anxious, etc. But what I do have is discipline. And I talk about all my clients and said, you could be depressed out of your mind and anxious, but you're still going to take a shower. You're still going to brush your teeth, because those are things that are instilled in you, discipline. So you're able to build, and me personally, my personal experience is better discipline habits when they're more interpersonal connections, meaning that they're with you in person rather than being online or reading from this
Normal Bros, and we back at it again. First of all, I'm gonna need you to tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a mother effing friend to follow and subscribe to your boys. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms as well. You can catch us on YouTube and TikTok. That's Far From Normal Podcast. Make sure you type that into a search engine and see the boys on those clips. We got everything for you. We got the website, www.farfromnormalpodcast.com. We got all the links up there. Make sure you check it out. Of course, YouTube. We're on Instagram as well. That's far_from_normal_podcast. Check it out. You already know. It's your boy Fuzzy Vision. I see the world clear, and I see the future, and the future is bright. You already know. Fuzzy Vision with 2 N's. If you have any likes, dislikes, rebuttals, or you want to be on the podcast, hit your boy up. Sonny, drop the handle, baby. You already know what it is. It's your boy Sonny Frames. You can catch me on the gram at Sonny, SONNY, Frames, double S at the end. Make sure when you do check out my Instagram page, check out my stories, because I usually post a lot of stuff that has to do with motivation, inspiration, chasing your dream, and execution. So let's not forget, any dream that you're trying to achieve, the only way that you'll ever achieve it is through execution and putting a plan to motion. So make sure that you don't just stay in the dream world, and make sure you make it a reality.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
And Fuzzy, let's get him.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the whole Canada Day and the holidays, and what have you been up to this whole weekend?
It's been a busy weekend. On Thursday, I threw my annual event called Summer of Self-Love.
Okay.
So the event started last year when I was working with a handful of clients, and I got them, let's say you're my client, Ryan, I want to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You lost 10 pounds, and then I'm like, Sonny, you lost 10 pounds and your energy didn't change. You weren't moved by it. And it made me realize that when it comes to this fitness training and people's mental health, it's a lot deeper than what meets the eye and what they say. So it made me realize that, especially now with summer coming, that you're going to wear t-shirts, you're going to wear tank tops, you're going to wear, these summer dresses, and people aren't really comfortable in their skin and in their bodies, no matter what they look like. I've had periods where I've been under 12% body fat. I still don't feel confident in my skin and my body. Yeah. So I'm like, if I'm feeling this way, and I like to think I'm somewhat of an expert when it comes to the gym and exercising, how do people feel on a regular basis? So they created the event again called Summer of Self-Love, and the idea is that during the summer, you take that with you throughout the winter when we like to wear these baggy clothes and we hide ourselves, that we're loving ourselves for ourselves. And it's an outdoor workout where you have myself, and then I reach out to some of the trainers that I know across the city. They bring in their clients. Most importantly, they bring in their expertise. So if you're a client, you've been with me for 4 or 5 years, and you're used to a certain style of training that I do, now I bring in Sonny, and Sonny has a way different style of training. It's a breath of fresh air for that client, for that experience. So I reach out to all these trainers. We come together. It's an outdoor workout, because a lot of people sometimes are intimidated by a gym. Yeah. So instead of us doing it in a gym, why not just do it outdoors outside? Because you're going to be outside wearing these clothing anyway, right? So it's for an hour. You have 5 workout stations, and you kind of shuffle and rotate. You have a bit of a mental health discussion at the beginning, talking about the importance of being kinder with yourself, how you speak to yourself. Oh, I made a mistake. That was so stupid. No, you made a mistake. You're not a stupid person. Right? And like I said, feeling more confident in the skin that you're in, the clothing that you're wearing. So that was a busy event, setting up.
So you never had real time for yourself?
No.
So you never did nothing enjoyment, no events?
Last night, actually, I went out, but again, that was, I had a great time, but it was also a work, it was a work thing. One of my clients that's been with me for a long time, she just graduated Kingston University for industrial something, master's. Big party.
That's how we got it.
Master's, big thing.
PhD.
We went out together as a team. She rented out this hall. We got drinks. There was a DJ, etc. Late night. Then this morning, woke up, was at the gym working. So no, I've been Been going.
Wow, been going. So what about the Monday? Are you gonna have any time to kind of relax, decompress, or it's still gonna be ongoing, like go, go, go?
So this Monday, it's the beginning of a new month, which means we need to make sure that like strategies are in place, content is prepared. We're also not closed tomorrow, so the gym's open tomorrow. We got classes in the morning that I'm running with some of the other coaches, and then in the afternoon we got to strategize for the upcoming week. So.
Okay, wow.
No rest for the wicked.
Yeah, so you're a really busy man. So when it comes to like relationships, are you able to fit that into your heavy work schedule? How does that work out?
It's a good question. How's that look? It's definitely a struggle to have a work-life balance, especially because I feel like I've started over again from an entrepreneur standpoint. Being a personal trainer and now a gym owner requires a whole mental reset and a whole level of expectations and requirements of yourself that you never even realized. So when you now have a brick and mortar that's requiring, it's almost like, I'm not a parent, but I would imagine this is like when you have a newborn baby. It's always crying. It's never fed enough. It's always wanting something. So then to take time away from that, to find time not only for yourself, but then devote to somebody else on top of that has been extremely challenging, to say the least.
Okay, so with that being said, because obviously, like you said, being a business owner and also working the business itself, that obviously takes a lot of your time. So how do you focus on yourself just in general when you're outside of work? Because if that takes up a lot of time, we always talk about mental health, and it's just people being aware of themselves and where they're at with their, their mental state, because a lot of people neglect those things. Maybe work is something that keeps them busy or keeps them distracted just long enough for them to not really address certain issues. So like, how do you get to that point of dealing with certain things that have to do with your personal life, outside of work, outside of relationships, but just making sure that your mentality is right moving forward so you're making the right decisions?
It's a good question. I mean, one thing that I have is that a rule of thumb that like after, let's say like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I stop like online communication in terms of like messaging or like responding or social media, et cetera. I just have that time for myself, whether I'm watching like a show or I'm just kind of sitting at home with my own thoughts. But like, it's very important to me to find at least 1 hour in a crazy day. And my day started at 5 a.m. Like I wake up at 4:30, 5 a.m. and I'm gone. So me being around people socially, not to say that I don't love what I do, but also at the same time, it's very draining. There's no time, as we're talking about, to pour into my own cup and refill my own. All right. So at the end of the day, I'm very disciplined about taking time, even if it's something, like I said, less than an hour, finding time that I can take, that I can just be with my own thoughts, be as my own person, and just kind of reconnect and reflect. And then on top of that, I might get certain sports throughout the day where maybe mid-afternoon, I might go home and take a quick nap. I'm fortunate that I don't live too far from my facility, so I'm able to kind of take those quick breaks. But being a brand new, like I said, business owner, it's been extremely challenging to find that time, because like from not only marketing, just like running the business, managing the current business that I had previously, building up clientele, doing online, research, SEO, all these, it's starting over from the brand that I had before till now. So yeah, it's been very, very consuming, very, very draining, as much as I love it. And it's been like, I've had people check me like, when are you finding time for yourself? Like, you give so much to us. How about yourself? And I'm like, yeah, a time for that will come. But right now, because it's been so hands-on, that the moment that I take a time for myself, nobody else is making sure that this ship is continuously sailing forward. And the idea at some point is that this ship is able to sail without me being so hands-on involved, and I'll be able to get that return of my time. And for me, and looking at starting a family, all these types of things. But right now, it's like, I'm locked in.
Okay. I kind of want to talk about that. Like, just, even like you said, the thing about time and just being busy, just not maybe, like you said, if you said a relationship, if you wanted to get into one, you'd rather when your business is flourishing to a point or extent that you're maybe satisfied with. But we always talk about this far from normal, and we always say that, we always want to thrive above the rest. We always want to, try and push ourselves to the limit, right? So when it comes to even, say 5 years from now and your business is where it's at, or, say it's progressed in those times. And, I find myself even in this situation, a lot of people in this situation, as you get older, depending on what you prioritize, you can always have an excuse for anything, right? So would you would you ever think about, say, chasing your same dream? Because I think people have troubles with this, chasing your dreams while being in a relationship. Like, that's a big thing for people where, of course, they say to themselves, I rather put all my energy into what I'm trying to accomplish for myself because I know what, fruit that's going to bear later on in life. So you're thinking long term instead of thinking short term. But do you think there is a way to work with a partner while you're chasing your dreams as well? Or do you think that you're probably better off focusing on your goal and then afterwards start focusing on a relationship or anything of that sort?
No, for sure. I want to clarify that. I definitely think it's possible to have a relationship while you're building a business. I don't think, because at the end of the day, like, the world is not about business. It's about relationships, not only connecting with people, but connecting with yourself and starting families. Like, we were all here because somebody started a family and at least gave birth, to one of us. So I'd like to be able to have that piece of life and be able to actually live life, because life is not spent grinding and working and working. That's not true life, which is one of the reasons why I want to be able to step away at some point from the business. So no, I would love if there's an opportunity for me to be able to connect with somebody and build a relationship with them at the same time that I'm building a future for us, which is through the business. Because you could turn around 5 years later, you build up this incredible behemoth, but now what do you have for yourself? Do you have your own personal life? Do you have friends? Do you have, a relationship? Do you have children? Do you have something that you can, years down the road when it's time to take that next step and next chapter in your life, you can pass this off to somebody, right? So there's also, I look at that all the time. I'm like, what am I doing this for? I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing all this work just to have myself have a good life. It's also to be able to, give my child some of the experiences that I wasn't given growing up, and be able to kind of, we say a lot in the Black community, break that generational curse. But for me, that's definitely something that I hold true to my heart and I want to be able to do. And that's going to come with being able to provide a sustainable income, because inflation is crazy. Like, we live in an expensive time.
Definitely crazy.
And you can only imagine now, like 3-4 years from now, having a child and, clothing, bills, food, etc. So even with my clients, like, I feel for them, like, life is not easy. So if I can do anything possible to give my family the best chance possible of succeeding through life, I'm going to be able to do that. But at the same time, I don't want to turn around and not have anything to be able to share the fruits of my labor with. Right. So bro, life is a balance. And every day I'm learning not only how to run the business, but also how to find that work-life balance.
100%.
I actually wanted to ask you, in terms of networking, the fact that you're a business owner, how do you find the time to network with others that's in the same industry? Because there's a lot of events that go on in the city, like fitness events. And for this weekend, we attended actually a fitness event, and it's interesting the type of people that you find there.
Yeah.
And it's always good to go to those events. Even though, you got your own things going on, making the effort to go to certain events just to network and see what's going on, how you could collaborate. How do you tend to deal with situations like that?
No, I think it's very important, because you can get stuck almost like living within your own world.
100%.
This business, and remember that there's a whole Toronto outside of your doorstep.
Yes.
And the only way people are going to know about your brand is by going out there and letting them seeing it, showcasing it. So no, me and the coaches have discussed different opportunities and different strategies where we can go out and either as a team or at least individually, somebody's going out there to represent the brand. Just last month, the head coach Clinton, he went out to, it was a mental health event for Black men specifically held at Othership. He went out there and networked, talked to some of the people about what we do, but also, learned about some of the other things that are going on outside of our doorstep.
Speaking of that, you never mentioned what the brand that you represent, the name of the actual brand. So I want to know about that, and I want to know about the hoodie that you're wearing, because it's very unique. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, pretty dope. Yeah, tracksuit. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. The brand is called Unity.
Okay.
And Unity is a group classes fitness-based gym in Scarborough.
Okay.
We've opened in November. We've been operating now for 7 months.
Congrats to that.
Congrats, man. Clap it up for that, Starting up any type of business is a big leap. Big leap of faith. Yep. 100%.
Thank you. To say, blood, sweat, and tears is an understatement to the amount of devotion and hard work that not only me but my clients have put into making it a success. Because I said this well before that the gym opened, that what is a personal trainer without clients? I'm just somebody going to the gym standing there by myself, right? So, and then you open this with the sense of that, you know, you want people to come in. Forget about like making money. You also want to be able to provide a home and a place where people feel comfortable. They don't feel judged.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. I mean, there's so many reasons what led to opening up this facility, but one of them was finding a home. You know, I've been a trainer now for the last pretty much 6 years, and I was renting out different gym owners' gyms and bringing my clientele in there, and you know, I'd see things in the gym that I wanted to implement myself, but I wasn't the owner and I wasn't the one paying the bills. I wasn't the one in charge, right? So you come, you know, with these suggestions, we should do this, we should do that. No. And then after a while, it's like, okay, well, if we're not going to do it because whatever reason, that's fine, but I want to be able to do that for them. And it took a lot of time, a lot of sacrifices. Like last summer, I didn't even have a summer. I spent the entire summer in my apartment working on it, from the branding, from the logo development, from, you know, sourcing a location.
And this is all you. This is like no team behind you at that time period?
No team at that time behind me. No, I had a partner come in very, very late, just before like the financials were pretty much due. But in terms of like all the heavy lifting, from down to like how the classes were going to be run, the programming, the class names, the branding, the colorway, everything was through me and my design team, which is Current Media Designs. They're the ones that built the website, created the logo. And I've been working with them since I had a brand called Rambo Fitness, which was a personal training brand that I had, and that's what started me transitioning into Unity. And I came to her and I said, I want to create a logo that has like a U in it, but I want to use a battle rope or a tricep rope. And she was like, okay, let me see what I can come up with. And then she came up with this. And I said, you know, there's a gym in the city called Body by Chosen. And I've, owner Dwayne has been a big mentor of mine. And every time that I've seen this man, he's always been wearing his own clothing. No matter where he is, he's always wearing his own branding. And I said, that's very inspiring because I want to be able to do that. And he's got multiple locations in the city, has incredible community, has great trainers, great network with him. And I was like, that's something that I want to emulate myself. I want to be able to have a clothing brand behind the gym because my clients always want to support me and support the merchandise that I have. And it's like, it makes sense, right? If you're having clients come to the gym and they're buying all these other brands, why not create something that they can support 100%. You for yourself, right?
I think a lot of people don't do that because they don't understand how powerful it is to have their own community. Because when you go out there and you're helping others, they want to feel some kind of connection. Yeah. And you creating a brand within that community makes people come together even more so, because it's like, well, we all represent the same kind of mentality. The ideology is the same. The principles are the same. You know, we all are marching to the same beat. Yeah. And it's a way of distinguishing yourself. So, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that kind of entrepreneurial mind state. And I wanted to talk about, how did you develop and cultivate that type of mind state? Because I don't feel in this city specifically, a lot of people gravitate towards that mind state. So how did you figure out, okay, you know what, the school thing is not quite for me, and then you found your own niche? How did that come together?
How do I sum that up? Long story short, I went to Humber College. Okay. I graduated Humber with a tourism diploma with honors. And it's crazy to even say that because in high school, I barely got by. But when I went to college and I had to take a year off because I had to work to pay my own money to pay for my tuition, I was like, man, I just did all these hours working at a grocery store. I used to work at Old Navy, stocking the shelves. And I was like, I didn't do all of these hours now just to take my money and throw it down the drain. So I took school very, very seriously. And from after there, I went and got a job at a company called Sunwing, a tour operator. And within 6 months, I became, at that time, the youngest supervisor. And I had a team of like 12, 15 agents reporting me, some of them old enough to be my parent. And I'm having one-on-one discussions with them, and they're not giving me that respect. And to be fair, respect is earned. Respect is because I just, just because you got a promotion doesn't mean that I need to report to you. But I tried. I was like, I get that there's some animosity here, but all I'm trying to do was make us more money. I'm trying to help you so we can also help myself. We both can win. And after a while, you know, you go to your managers and say, I want to do this. We should do this with the team. And no. So I got approached by another company at that time through LinkedIn that offered me a little bit more of a base salary than I was currently making. And I took that. And then I went to that company, which is a luxury tour operator. And that company allowed me to travel to Thailand, Vietnam, India, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar. Like I went around Southeast Asia. I used to sell trips there. But again, after time, you go to your manager and say, you know, I want to create this experience for the customers. We should do this. We should do that. No. Keep on doing what you're doing. So long story short, I've had 5 years of corporate experience, and every single company that I worked for, I saw holes of opportunity, how we can not only improve the workplace for our coworkers, but also improve the experience for the customers. And every single company told me no. So after a while, you kind of sit there and you're just like, why am I working for these companies? Like when I was 21, my dream was to be a CEO of a company and rise all up and get promotion after promotion. And by the time I was 25, I was exhausted. I hated companies just because there's so much structure. And the last
like the political,
there's connection,
bureaucracy.
I want a bureaucracy. I want to get an approval. All of a sudden, I got 20 people. It's crazy. By the time you get your approval, it's too many channels. So the last job that I had, I was micromanaged so much that I used to, every email that I sent, the CEO it was a small company, mind you, the CEO was BCC'd on every single email. And I would send an email that he'd come out the door, Ryan, why'd you say that? Come out. Ryan, how come you didn't say this at the end of the email? So I used to wake up in the morning with like anger. Like can you imagine waking up 7 o'clock in the morning angry? Because I knew where I was going. And then I started to see that it only affecting me. I was in a relationship at the time. Like it was affecting everything. So I was like, you know what? I need to quit. And at that time, I was still going to the gym. Like I've been in the gym since I was 12 years old. I was fortunate that I grew up with somebody that, you know,
were you born and raised in Toronto?
I was born and raised in Toronto. Yeah, family's from Guyana, Guyanese, but I was born and raised in Toronto.
Okay.
And my best friend growing up, his father and him were heavily involved in the gym. They did bodybuilding competitions, and he opened up his own gym. So I saw that experience firsthand. It was always in the back of my head. And then one day we were sitting down, and he was just like, you know, why don't you start training people? You know, you're good with people and you're in the gym. Just, you know, why don't you start training people? And I was like, at the time, I was like, And then like a week went by and I went back to work and I hated it. I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. So I got my first client and I started training them out of his gym. And he was teaching me in terms of like components and how to and the anatomy of the body. It's a lot different going to the gym and training yourself versus now taking a different body type, a different mind, and saying, okay, I want you to demonstrate
that
this.
Is true.
I could be showing you how to do a shoulder press like this and you start doing it like that. And I'm like, no, like this. You're like, oh, like that? So it took a lot.
Why do you think that happens where you're explaining a workout and they see what you're doing, but they're not able to emulate that? What do you think the problem is there?
I think a lot of it is overwhelming.
Okay.
That, you know, you're
even when the weights are light.
It's not even about the weight. It's about the experience, being in a gym. And going back to what I said earlier about summer self-love and people being intimidated by a gym. Just because us feel comfortable walking into any gym and crushing through work.
That's true. Say comparison is a thief of joy.
Exactly. So you're already in this big space. You see all this equipment that you're not accustomed to. You feel like people are looking at you. And I'm saying, hey, look at me. Pay attention just to me. And I'm showing you to do this exercise. You're thinking about your own insecurities. You're thinking about maybe that weight's too much for me. I'm never going to be able to do that. He doesn't know about my shoulder tear. Whatever the case may be. I think people are overthinking the situation a lot, which causes them to miss the opportunity and the example that's shown right in the beginning. So now when I show people exercises, I say, instead of me showing you, I'm going to give you whatever the weight is or a sled or whatever the case may be and have you do it. I'm going to instruct you verbally. Because you learn mentally differently by you being hands-on with something versus you watching somebody. And I've learned that from a coaching experience. It's just saved me a credible amount of time, and it's also made the client feel more involved in the process.
In the process, that you're helping them out and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you were talking about you had a mentor that was teaching you about the human anatomy, and then
and then after that, he was like, you know what, you need to go get your license. Like if you really want to do this. Like, take it seriously. Don't be a fitness influencer. Like, you know, put pen to paper, make the investment, go study, go learn. So I said, okay. I went and got my own license. I got like certified as a trainer, and that right on the spot almost felt like it was like a small kin degree. Like you had to learn every single muscle group, every single component. And like I said, I've been in the gym since I was 12 years old, and I learned so much stuff I didn't know. Like I knew the exercises, I knew the techniques, but not like the understanding exactly of how the body moved. And going back to be able to see how a regular person's body can be manipulated based off the instructions they're giving them, but also, you know, the techniques that they're being shown. So I got my license, and then I got my client. I trained him for a month, posted on Instagram before and after of him, started to get more people. He brought me his girlfriend. I took a before and after her. About 2 months, she started getting a butt, her stomach went down, her face went down. I posted on Instagram, bam, started getting more requests for training. I was like, this is great, cool. I started my own boot camp class because then I realized that, you know, you're doing all this one-on-one training, but at the same time, you can make not only a bigger impact for more people, but from a business perspective, you can also make more revenue if you're training multiple people at the same time rather than one person. So I started doing group classes, and it built and it built and it built. And then, you know, it took off until COVID happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because me and my brother been earlier on today, we were talking about now
conversation.
Yeah, the conversation was about, so now when people talk about certain experiences, they either say pre-COVID or post-COVID.
Yeah.
Which just tells you how much the world has changed
For
because
sure.
of COVID.
Because of that.
Yeah, that changed everything. Right when I would say that my boot camp classes were really taking off, COVID happened.
Wow.
It shut down. Obviously, you know, people lost their businesses, people lost their home. Like, it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
But from a fitness perspective, it was insane because we were one of the industries that were hit the hardest. Like, there was no working from home. You can't yes, you know,
well, they were doing
training
virtual
and virtual training, but it was not the same.
It's not the same.
You can't do a leg
100%.
press in your living room, right?
Yeah.
And as going back to a coach, it's a lot harder for me to instruct you, telling you to keep your chest up when you're right in front of me. I can just show you, lift this up.
Yeah.
But if somebody's at home and I'm like, no, do this, and you're like, do that, and I'm like, no, do this, you're like, no, do that. It's very, very frustrating.
Yeah, of course.
And you have to be, you know, exceptionally articulate with your words to be able to get what you want out of a client, you know, virtually.
So you're not a fan of the whole virtual working remotely as a personal trainer? You don't think that's something that you would partake in?
I'll say this. I'll say that no matter my own personal beliefs, as long as somebody's exercising, that is what I'm happy about. Because whether you're doing it at home, you're doing it online, you're doing it in the gym, at least you're working on yourself.
Yes, 100%.
And then going back to your actual question, me personally, I don't really promote or do online training that much myself. I know a lot of trainers that do, and they're able to impact a lot of people with it because obviously you're reaching a bigger audience.
Just in a business sense.
In a business sense, you can automate things a lot quicker.
Yes.
You can spend hours, you know, recording yourself doing workouts.
Yes.
Put it into a program, send it to somebody, $20, residual income. So from a business perspective, I get it. But when you said it earlier, it's about relationships.
Yes.
And I cannot build a connection with you or build a relationship with you through a tablet or through a computer screen or through FaceTime training.
That is very true.
Through hands-on experiences. I'm not giving you a high five through a phone. These things that you cannot emulate, right?
The connection not there.
And the more that a person feels comfortable through a training process, the more you're going to get out of that person because they let their guard down and now they're focused on the exercises and the journey. And not only that, but also the commitment that's required. You know, motivation, I don't believe in motivation at all because I've been motivated many days and then I wake up in the morning and I'm hella depressed, I'm anxious, etc. But what I do have is discipline. And I talk to all my clients and said, you could be depressed out of your mind and anxious, but you're still going to take a shower. You're still going to brush your teeth because those are things that are instilled in you, discipline. So you're able to build, and me personally, my personal experience is better discipline habits when they're more interpersonal connections, meaning that they're with you in person rather than being online or you know, reading from, you know, this program that I outlined for you that you're just reading. And then if you got questions, send me a message through this chat or app system, right? But at the end of the day, if somebody is seeing results from that type of training and they feel like their life has changed, who am I to judge? Doesn't matter to me. As long as you're working out, that's all that really matters.
Okay. Yeah.
So how does that work in terms of when the client base continues to grow? How do you manage a bigger client base? Because you want to do it in person, but you can only handle so many clients at a time, or you're going to burn out yourself. So what's the strategy to, you know, to organize that in a way that is manageable?
It's a great question. I think when it comes to personal training, it's a lot easier because even though that you might have multiple personal training clients, at the end of the day, I'm still, no matter what time during the week, at some point during the week, it's just going to be me and you for 1 hour.
Okay.
And that's going to be our hour connecting. And you know that outside of that, if there's now a big group around me, you and I still have that connection that we talked about in an hour. Now, when it comes to group classes where, you know, my clientele has grown quite a lot, you're now mixing people who have been with me for years, now mixing people who've been with me for a few weeks or a few months, you can start to sometimes have, not to say have tensions, but like, you know, I miss when it was just us and having a little bit more of a stronger connection. We have more history, and it's like, but at the same time, you have to be happy for growth.
Yes.
And in order for us all to keep reaping the benefits of the success that we all have had in this, we need to continue to grow. We can't have this huge facility with just me and a handful of people.
Yeah.
We need multiple people in here to keep it operational, keeping it growing. So I think just making sure and me reminding clients that, like, no matter how big that this community gets, that connection that we had from the very beginning when we first met, when you're a timid person, not looking forward to exercising, very concerned about some of the moments, and now you're comfortable. You have to remember those moments as we continue to grow. But yeah, that has challenges because you're accustomed to a certain way. I used to have group classes that were just me and 2, 3, 4 other people.
Wow.
And now we have group classes that are over 20 people, right? So, from that perspective, it's not only changing the connection, changing your experience. There's a lot more one-on-one attention when it was just, you know, handful of people as a bigger group.
But one question I wanted to know was, you know, for the business side of things, how did that part become something? Because you told us about, you know, the history of, like, definitely you working for a company, doing the regular 9 to 5, going to school, doing everything you had to do to get to where you wanted to get. But you've obviously realized that dealing with bosses, dealing with a lot of rules and policies and stuff like that is probably not suitable for the lifestyle that you like or how you like to conduct things. So when you got into personal training, that was your first step into getting into a different career, but getting into business is a completely different step because you were learning something which was personal training, like you said, like kind of kinesiology, understanding the body, certain things like that. So when did the business idea hit you, and when did you feel, or at what moment did you know that you could actually make a business out of this? Because I think sometimes the idea comes, but the process of committing to this idea and actually making the steps of creating the brand, the name, the logo, the clothing, all those things are something that usually is mentored to you by somebody. Somebody usually, you know, has to put you on to these type of ideas, because sometimes we can't see that far because we're just not in that mind state. So as for you being in the, like I said, the regular mindset of just going to school and maybe finding a job, and then after doing something more on your own, starting your little business with the personal training, how did you creating a business now and a logo and a brand and everything of that nature, how does that begin? And yeah, people want to know about that. How do you start at that point?
That's a very good question, and it's an incredible observation because they are two separate things, and I had to learn them both on the fly. I had to learn how to be a personal trainer, how to have professionalism, and how to create programming. And like I said, training yourself is one thing. Training somebody else is an entirely different beast. And then on top of that, once you learn how to do the job, now how do I get people to fulfill my job and fulfill my business and acquire customers? So I mean, it's a mixture of, as you were talking, I was thinking about, like, really, Ryan, like, have you ever asked yourself how you done it? And a lot of the times people ask me, Ryan, how did you come up with this? How did you do that? And a lot of the times it really is just instincts. But I've realized that I'm very good at watching somebody do something, whether they have success or they have a failure, taking the good from it that I feel like I can kind of emulate and replicate, and then finding and putting my own type of twist onto it. And I always tell people, I say, like, nobody invented the push-up, nobody invented the squat, nobody invented, like, marketing. Like, certain people obviously did, but the point is that all this is recycled stuff. Yeah, you're doing something that you saw from somebody else. Like, it's all just recycled stuff. But you have to have the keen awareness and the mindset to be able to pick up on the things that are being shown you. So although I hated the corporate lifestyle, it also taught me about structure in terms of, like, meetings and professionalism and customer service business and speaking with people and sales and targets. Like I did sales for my 5 years. I was a salesperson with commissions and targets that I had to and quotas, et cetera, and people that I had to report to. So I took that type of metrics and foundations and then applied it to myself. I basically have taken all the good that I've learned and seen from everybody and then applied it to myself. And obviously I'm not perfect. I made tons and tons of mistakes, but the point is that how I crafted myself is by watching and observing and learning and taking notes, kind of like almost like how, you know, Kobe studied Jordan and then Kobe emulated his success. I would say that's the best comparison for me. I studied a lot of the greats, like talking about like Body by Chosen and, you know, people that grew up with, you know, the Abdallah family, R3 Fitness, and many, many other people, mentors that I've had. And I kind of just learned and said, okay, you did this really right, you did this really well, you did this, et cetera. And how do I take that and create my own version of it and version something that I can speak for myself? So yeah, I would say honestly, I watched other people, how they were doing it and kind of said, okay, I like how you did that. Let me do it kind of this way. And from there, I was able to kind of create what I have today now.
Okay, because we definitely like talking about this. My brother, he has like the same kind of mentality as you, where he's very instinctual. So he goes off the feel of, you know, what he feels needs to be done, and then he acts on it. The reason I asked that question because some people don't have that. They don't have that action in them. They don't have that, you know, ability to go, because a lot of the times when, you know, decisions have to be made, a lot of people don't make the decision. They let the decision make them. So I think that's very important to let people know that, you know, you had to make a decision. It's not, you know, somebody walked you over to make that decision. When you created your brand, no one told you you should do the logo this way or you should do the logo that way. You had to make these decisions. And I think that's the important part for anyone that's entrepreneur, is that the best advice you can really give is making that decision to go. I think once you start something, and as you probably know, once you started, things have improved since then, right? You probably started slowly. You never started like 100-meter dash and, you know, the race is done in 9 seconds. You knew it's going to take you some time to build some stuff. So I think the most important thing in you know, talking about entrepreneurship is time. You have to be patient with your time, and you have to make that decision as quick as possible to start, so at least you have something going for you and then you can build on it. So I think it's inspirational, you know, just having a business that you can call your own, and you designed it yourself. And like you said, a lot of people work for companies and hate it. You know, I've been in these situations as well, where you're going to a company that you don't like the management, or you just don't like the job itself, but you think, okay, well, I need to make money to make myself, you know, flourish in this life, right? You need to pay your bills. You need to do certain things to sustain your life, you know, just quality of life, going out, enjoying. But at the same time, I think people have to really key into certain things not fitting into their life. They have to key into that. So like you said, the job opportunities that you had previously didn't fit into your lifestyle or your future. And I think that's not wrong. I think people have to have that idea that if something doesn't work for you, just because it worked for him, that doesn't mean you have to follow the same path. You can create your own opportunities if you're focused and, like you said, discipline to get things done, right? To just do that action. So definitely kudos to you, man. Kudos to you with Unity. Like, we like to see that as well as creators. You know, we always try to do new things, try to create our own branding and stuff like that, just because we understand the work we put in and we want to showcase that, right? So I think that's always good. Like I said, the business that you have going and how it came about was quite the journey.
It was
quite the journey,
and I'm still on the journey. But no, thank you, because I think also one of the components that makes me successful is that, especially now in the stage of my career that I'm not afraid to fail. I'll come up with an idea and I'll say, okay, guys, we're going to do this. And some people will be like, Ryan, that's such a stupid idea. I say, okay, we're going to do it anyway. And then we'll do it. And I either will turn around and be like, you know what, I told you it was right. Or they'll tell me, like, Ryan, told you it was a waste of time. You completely followed me. But I tried. And then I can put that back on my mind. I can move on to something else. But I've just working with people. A lot of people are scared to go out of their comfort zones or to try things. I for a long time was very conscious of what people thought about me or who I was as a person, how I conducted myself. Like I gave people a lot of power over me and their thoughts, even if they weren't saying it to me. It's just the way that you looked at me and the way that your demeanor was. And now, like, respectfully as possible, I could care less. And that just comes from so many personal trials and tribulations that I've had to go through in my own life, and that's where confidence comes from. And people who I feel like are not confident in themselves will say that, well, that person's very cocky, they're very egotistic. It's just, no, I've had my back against the wall so many times that I've overcome those obstacles every single time, that you now trying to infringe some type of I don't know, tactic or like
moral principle,
something that's not going to make me change who I am. Because I've been in way worse situations that you don't even know about that I've had to overcome with a smile on my face coming out of it. And it's like, I'm now not going to turn around and give somebody's petty comments power over me. It's absolutely nothing. On the bigger scheme of things, you have to know what you're striving for, what you're about, and also where you want to go. And, you know, over the last few years, I've lost some people, unfortunately, that were close to me. But at the same time, you also understand that everything in life happens for a reason.
100%.
And you grow out of certain environments and you grow into certain other environments. Like, I have a friend that I call my best friend, and every time that we talk on the phone, we talk about business, how we can elevate each other. Yeah, we talk about our personal lives too, and what we want in terms of families, etc., and a partner. But at the same time, the conversation is always trying to, you know, intellectually dive into things and how we can build each other up to become better men. Whereas I've had friendships, it's like, yo, what are we doing this weekend? Where are we going? Who are we calling? What party are we going to? And that's not a lifestyle you can sustain for the rest of your life, right?
So but with friends like that, they're are not on the same path as you are, how do you maneuver in situations like that? When the conversation is derailing or it's going in a direction that you don't want it to go to, or even when they invite you to certain events, you know, because we all have friends like that, you know, want to partake in certain events, and certain events you don't want to partake in because you got other more important matters that you want to deal with.
Obligations,
and obligations. So how do you manage those types of situations?
I be as real as I can. And the real friends who know me and have been with me and I've been with them, they respect it and understand that right now I'm in the biggest stage of my life, which is this overhead and this brand that we have and something that we're trying to build up. And they respect that I'm not going to be able to make it to every, you know, party and barbecue and outing and things like that. And then you have other friends that feel a certain type of way, and like, this person doesn't check in on me, doesn't call me, doesn't talk to me, he's very selfish. And it's like, it's not about me being selfish, it's about me making sure I can stay above water, right? I'm not going home and having somebody cook dinner for me or do my laundry for me on top of running this business. So like, the time that I have for myself, it's very, very, very limited. So I'm straight up, Sonny, I can't go this weekend. You know, okay, whatever. This is the thing, you're not always coming. And I'm like, yeah, but I told you I have these responsibilities, obligations. So I'm straight up. I don't beat around the bush. If I'm going to come,
just let them know. I also realize that that's the best way to make sure that you're staying on task. Because why beat around the bush? Because it just takes a lot longer to get to what you're trying to project out into the public domain. So if you're direct with the person and you tell them how you feel about the situation, all they can do is either accept it or not accept it, but they got to move on, right? And you saved yourself a lot of time. You know, time is money, and then also, you know, time is just one of those commodities you don't get back. So you got to make sure that you protect your time with everything you got, especially when you're trying to chase a dream or you have your ambitions and you have your aspirations and what you have a goal of what you're trying to achieve in this world. So you got to guard your time. Like, you got to be literally a safekeeper, a gatekeeper to your own time, right? And also,
I really do think that, you know, people view time differently, though. I think that they just value time differently. So like, we're talking about entrepreneurism. Like, if you think about it, you are conducting a business on your own. You're not clocking into a job. So some people have different responsibilities in life. As you know, people get into relationships and then they have that responsibility. Sometimes they prioritize that over friendship, for example. So I think people just have different values of time. I think with friendships, where you find the issue with a lot of friendships is that the person has known you for a while. And if you have changed, like, of course, from working a job to running a business, they don't see the change. They just see you as the same person they've known. So unfortunately, some people can't see you in a different light, with a different sort of respect for that life you're living now, right? So if people elevate in life, I think, the biggest issue with friends and things of these nature is that some people can't fathom you doing things differently in your life, and maybe causing a distance, causing a little bit of a distance. So they try to, relate to old things, old stuff you used to do, things you used to be into. And unfortunately, that doesn't work all the time. As you're trying to move up in life, unfortunately, you change your habits and things change. So I think that a lot of the time we try to appease people and we try to make sure we can please everyone. But what I've learned in life is that being a people pleaser just causes more headache for you at the end of it, because you're trying to find a way to fit everybody in. And in this world, you don't have enough time to fit everyone in. I think you do have to, and I don't want to sound so harsh, but you definitely do have to abandon certain people when it comes to
boundaries.
Yeah.
You even say abandoning. It's boundaries.
I'd say yes. Maybe you said a better word. Boundaries. You have to set limits and boundaries and certain things that you're gonna agree to and not agree to. I think that's the true base of That's a true friendship to me. Understanding that you have your responsibilities. You have things that are more important than doing other, leisure activities. In some cases, I think that's the true hallmark of a good relationship. Always checking in.
Also, they say a friend to every. I think it's a friend to every is an enemy to himself. I'm paraphrasing the actual saying, but pretty much you can't be a friend to everyone, right? Because then your energy is used. It's all used up, and you have nothing to give to yourself. So you definitely have to protect your own peace, right, and not cater to everyone else's peace. But on another note, a question I wanted to ask you was your thoughts on the Toronto entrepreneurial scene. Do you feel that it has a strong base here in Toronto, or do you feel that it still struggles and it's still hard to find people that are in your niche and that you can learn from?
I think the Toronto entrepreneur space is very similar to the Toronto rap game, where you hear a lot of people saying that Toronto artists don't support one another, always putting each other down, which is one of the reasons why they're not more successful. And I think that happens a lot. I think there's a lot of jealousy and animosity and just unnecessary tensions. Like another mentor that I had when I started too, his name Chester Taylor. He was like, Ryan, you have how many people are in this city? Like over millions and millions of people, and you got a handful of trainers all fighting over the same clients. Like, it doesn't make sense. You go train these people, I'm gonna go train these people, he's gonna train these people, she's gonna train these people. Like,
you should have.
There's so many people in this city.
We have our own.
Have you not? I sat in traffic coming here. It's there's so many people in this city. We do not need to be fighting over the same amount of clientele, right? So there are some businesses that support each other and will post each other and do collaborative efforts. Like, for example, that Summer of Self-Love event. Those are all different trainers all coming together. And if we've got 15 trainers, that's 15 different independent businesses all coming together and collaborating. Absolutely. And you're not feeling like I'm taking your clients. I'm not feeling like you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shared, it's
shared effort.
And then I've asked other people, and no. I'm like, okay.
What, they don't want to partake?
Yeah, and it's like, you don't understand. This is a great look for your brand. This is a great look for you as a trainer. This is a great look for your clients too, to you to be able to collaborating and doing something outside of your comfort zone. Like, how you're going to grow is networking and meeting other people.
But do you think that's them being scared, or do you think it's like more of a negative emotion, like a jealousy thing or that type?
I'll never really know, because I don't want to speak for other people. When I ask how come, and it's just I can't. Like, you're just never available every time. It's like asking a girl, you want to go? You go, exactly. No problem.
It's like, at some point you're gonna be like, okay, you know what? I get it. I mean, you're not interested.
It's cool. No problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, when I was younger, I would have felt some type of way. Now it's like, here I am trying to work together and build this all up. How am I going to feel upset if you don't want to, have mutual success? It doesn't matter to me. So I think that there's a lot more work that can be done in terms of collaborating efforts and us working together to build each other's businesses up. Because you have gyms in Pickering, you have gyms downtown, you have gyms in Sauga, gyms in different Vaughan. You might have people, in different areas that want to work out, vice versa. share, build a referral basis, build a network.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we had like one big system where it's like, I don't know, we created our own. There's something called ClassPass. What if we created our own within Toronto, saying, okay, every gym in the city sign up, we all pitch in, etc. And then now somebody buys a membership, and then now they can go to every single private gym in the city and do some of that, rather than having another company make money off of it.
You know what I think what the problem is? I think the problem is some people feel like they're doing more than others.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, you're not gonna hold on to my coattail while I'm the one that's doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So then they're like, no. So they'll rather work by themselves and continue whatever they're doing rather than allowing somebody to jump on their coattail.
But see, what people don't understand with that is just like if you think about basketball team, like of course if you think like LeBron James, right? Like he's carried his team many times to the finals, but at the same time he's never won unless he had teammates that were competent. Like he would need teammates that were competent that he eventually got in order to win, but the heavy load was on him.
Yes.
So I think businesses don't understand that aspect. I mean, of course, some businesses are going to have to take more of a heavy load. Sometimes you did more of the legwork earlier on, especially when you're talking about collaborative effort, right? At the end of the day, if a big company is wanting to do something like that and say involve smaller businesses, they can say to themselves, well, what's the use? We can put that towards our own marketing and not market or brand other businesses, right? But at the same time, they could understand that this get together of everybody provides more business for future opportunities. Sometimes collaboration sparks more people's interest than it does just you by yourself. So that's where the value is. It's the sparking interest with multiple businesses and multiple clients. And then that gives the visibility for your business. And that gives people more interest, especially if they want to go that route. Sometimes options will be better for them, right? So
I think also too, it's like when you look at the business, it's both. You can look at it like a marathon and also like a relay race. Like, for example, if you're a more of established gym than me and you have your clientele for years, you feel like if I'm approaching you to do something, well, why would I work with you? I've been doing this for longer than you have.
That's what it comes down to.
And we'll look at it like a relay race. Like, so the first half of this race, you've carried and you built this up. Now let me also bring in the new ideas, the community, the network that I have, and let's continue this race. Let's continue the momentum on. Let's keep building. Like, why would you not want to have an opportunity to continue to grow your business and also get more exposure? And if you really feel like, you're at a certain level where, you're not intimidated by somebody taking clientele or business, and you've got nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. By other people seeing how prestigious that you are, and now that might be able to transferring over to you if your mindset is like that. Right?
Exactly. So it works out in two aspects.
But even with that, I think a lot of people tend to have more negative thinking towards the collaboration aspect rather than positive thinking and how it could benefit their business. They're looking at, well, maybe he's a piranha. Maybe he's coming in to, take my clientele. He's trying to carve himself a little piece of the pie over here. And then once he gets what he needs to get, he's just going to take off. And then so when people see it from that angle, they don't want to collaborate. But if they see it in the angle where it's like, well, I mean, he's the new guy on the block. He's in the field, he's doing a lot of leg work where I'm no longer doing that same leg work. Maybe this clientele that I'm unaware of because I'm over here now and I don't have anybody down there to see what's going on. So maybe it would be beneficial for a collaboration to be in order. So then more clientels so more clients could come in.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's also like an elementary school project where like you come in the room and it says, okay, Sonny, Ryan, Jake, Smith, and Paul are all in a group together. I don't like any of you guys, but I'm not, even if I go to the teacher and say, hey teacher, I don't want to be work. It doesn't matter. You're still staying in a group. But we could finish this project and we all could get an A.
That's what it is.
One of my mentors that have helped me get to where I am said, Ryan, you might not like everybody in here, but everybody needs to respect each other. You all need to respect each other. There you go. He has his business, you have their business, you have this business, she has this, but it doesn't matter. We're all collaboratively working in this space. We all need to respect one another. And that space, i.e. now, is the city. You stay in your territory, etc. But if we all can work together for a common goal, which is mutual growth, not only for businesses, for our pockets, but also most importantly for our clients, improving the clientele experience that we're giving to them, it's a win-win. But we let our personal emotions and how we feel
over.
about people
Yes.
and judge people's styles, whatever the case may be, blind you from the bigger aspects and the bigger goals and the bigger wins that you can get from a collaborative effort. You don't have to be doing so much heavy lifting by yourself.
Yeah.
You take care of this, I'll take care of that, she'll take care of this, and it all comes together. One of the reasons, like I said, that the gym has been successful so much too is also because it's not from the marketing. Like we post great content, sure, but it's not from the posts that we're doing, the ads. It's from the level of service that we're giving, and then the word of mouth. Sonny leaves the gym, goes home, tells his parent, tells friends and family, I love this place. It's great music, great people. You come, and all of a sudden now you're bringing more people. And the word of mouth grows because of the experience that you're providing, and also people wanting to share. Whereas you have other people like, no, this is my space. I'm not telling anybody about it because I don't want anybody else coming here. Like, that's fine. You're entitled to that. But at the same time, when now we all can grow as more people come here, we all can more mutually, not only enjoy the space, but now have other opportunities given to us because now there's more people involved in this process.
That is true. And it's interesting that you mentioned, there's one thing that you mentioned in terms of like the services that you provide and them word of mouth going out there. And that's how like your clientele comes in. I want to ask you, what's your thoughts on luxurious gyms compared to the standard gyms?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Have you ever been on a tour to one of those gyms?
We're very curious about these high-end gyms. And
I've also been to a high-end gym.
Advantages, disadvantages. Like, what's your thoughts on those type of...
It'd be very nice after I've leg pressed, 500 pounds to have a masseuse rub my feet and massage my quads and stuff like that. But I think those types of places distract people from the actual goals. It's fluff. You got people, like I said, during COVID who did work from home workouts from home. And I saw great success, and you have people that go to these expensive gyms, pay $150, $60 a month for membership, and look like they never walked into a gym before. So I think
it's necessary. Do you think it's really for the gym to actually do a workout per se, or is it for all the other amenities that come with it?
Those gyms target a certain type of clientele, a certain type of target market, a demographic. Those are generally people who don't like to be seen in what they would say like a lower class. Something like my gym, for example, they would consider lower class. Like you're not upscale enough. You don't have a receptionist coming and greeting me, you know what I mean? A pool, all this type of stuff. So I think those types of gyms, and again, I don't want to segment people because I do have some friends that go there and they're great people, but I think generally most people who go to those types of gyms, they're not necessarily there just for the actual weights, because look how many gyms are. It's a very
100%. That's what I'm asking.
You're there for all the other experiences that come with that, the spas and massages and stuff like that. But it makes you from a psychological aspect too, right? When it comes to training, it's all about the emotional connection you have, not only with whatever gym that you're at, but also with yourself. So if you feel like I'm paying a certain amount of money, and now I feel this makes me a better person, this makes me a more of a higher end person to do it, which is why some people wear Louis Vuitton and Dolce Gabbana, all those things, and etc. And some people wear Walmart Georges. At the end of the day, it's still clothing. Whether you work out in the park or you work out in the gym at Good Life or LA Fitness, Unity, anywhere the case may be, it doesn't matter. The point is you're still getting a workout. So I think a lot of people get sidetracked from all this fluff that they're seeing and focus on the main thing, which is your nutrition, your water intake, your exercising, your training program, your resistance, how much you're pushing yourself. You don't need all this extra stuff.
Do you think it's a good place for networking?
I think it's an incredible place for networking if that's the type of people that you're looking to acquire.
But I always say when it comes to networking, I don't think it's networking if it's not facilitated by the actual spot that you're at. I can't call it networking, because if you have to go out of your way to talk to people, then it's not networking. It's only networking when it's facilitated within the space that you're in, where it's like, okay, at this specific hour, we're gonna have juices set up, and everybody can meet up over there. If you want to get to know anybody over here, now you can get to know them. We have like these new energy drinks we want you guys to try at this specific time. You can come in, you can meet some people. Now that's what we call networking. All that other stuff you telling me about networking, but you never facilitated anything, and I have to go in there and I don't know anybody, and I have to go, hey man, how's it going? Or hey, to see a woman doing a workout and starting a conversation. That's just all.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. You're just basically trying to strike up conversation.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
So for yourself, like for example, of course, if you went to gym, you'd be looking for clients, I'd imagine, right? But like we said, like for networking events, unless they're facilitated to some extent. Like usually networking events make sense if there's businesses involved, because obviously you have a business. So you direct someone towards your business. So that makes sense. You're handing off cards. But when we talk about like high-end gyms or places that people call so-called networking places, because even if you think about run clubs and a lot of these spaces, they're social spaces and you can network with people depending on what type of people you want to network with. But most of these places or spots aren't facilitated to network. They're only you going to a place that people have things in common with you, assuming they have things in common with you, and then it's up to you to now walk up to somebody, introduce yourself, ask them what they do and who they are.
You're basically talking about the difference between networking and then field sales. Like
Pretty much.
you going to a random place and saying, "Hey, you look like you work out." That cold call and cold sales. Hey, you work out? Well, I own a gym. You should come on by.
Yeah.
Now leave me alone. What the hell? Like I'm just trying to hear.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you can bump into the wrong people. So we found that like interesting, because we always wanted to try out these high-end gyms just to see what the vibe is, right? We've been to so many gyms in the city. So you're like, you know what? Maybe I need to switch it up. Maybe I need to see something different. Maybe I need a different kind of motivation or inspiration or whatever the case may be, right? Be around certain people. But we always thought about what's the benefits of it. And like you as a personal trainer, like you said, people that go to these gyms. Have they ever told you anything about these gyms, of like the experiences that they've had or anything of that nature?
Say it's a lot of rich, obviously, a certain type of clientele, a lot of rich people in there. Most people are on their phones, answering emails and stuff like that. It's like it's a social club. It's like paying $600 a month for a social club. Like you have these social clubs in the city where people go to and they smoke their cigars, they have their drinks and stuff.
What about
You're paying for an entourage, an experience. But at the end of the day, you're paying a building for room. This is all psychological.
It is.
I don't need to be paying for a membership to feel like I'm an exclusive person. I don't need to be going to certain places to feel like that's not, and I'm not, putting down on anybody, but a lot of that comes, I think, from lack of self-confidence, in my personal opinion.
Okay. That is true. I think that I would agree to that to a certain extent, because it is a status thing. It's like anything, designer, clothing, like you said.
And if that makes you feel good, like I also want to add some clarification. There's nothing wrong with that, because if you worked really hard, you should also be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. 1,000%, or else what was the point of it all?
Yes.
But there's people, what I'm talking about is people who are basically like striving by every month, barely getting by to pay for these luxurious just so they can hold a quote unquote status. They go on social media and be like, look at me. And it's like, that's what I'm referring to. That's more of a lack of love. But if you work extremely hard, do whatever you want with your money. It's your money. Live your life.
What's your thoughts on this whole like social media trend though, with working out? And like you must notice that, say from just 5 years ago to this point, how much fitness influencers and people are popping up all the time showing these different ideas and different like methods. Some things are pretty crazy. You're probably seeing like a lot of crazy marketing.
I mean, I'll to be honest with you, I've done some crazy stuff for some views. When it comes to content creation, like before the gym, I wasn't somebody who made content like that I'm making now. Like my clients know that, my followers know that, but now it's a little bit different. We have a brand that we're trying to promote. We're trying to make people engage, and you realize that, Instagram and social media is so flooded by, ab workout, chest workout, but you need things that are different. You can't just be posting workouts. You need to be doing things that are funny, things that are engaging, things that people can relate to, topics, nutrition discussions, things that make people laugh, people that, get their mind off the fact that they're working out, but still understand the importance of fitness. And you have to be respectful for it. We also have to be, have a little bit of humor into it. So, I personally, I don't really enjoy making content that much, despite what people would think given my page and how much we're posting. But I also now understand that this is the world that we're in, whether you like it or not.
That's what we got.
If you want to survive, you need to be posting content. You can't just be posting nonsense. It has to be stuff that makes sense. And, we look at our algorithm, we have meetings and we say, hey guys, this post, we got 10 likes. this post got over 250 likes. We need to be doing more things like that.
Yeah.
Or Ryan, you were twerking in that video. You think we want to keep doing that? Respectfully, no, I don't want to keep doing that. So we also need to make sure that things that
level
we're
of
doing.
integrity
The
is
level of integrity, dignity is all there.
So what I wanted to say, I wanted to conclude this, and we're coming to the end. We're gonna wrap it up soon, but I did want to know what advice you would give to other entrepreneurs that are in the earlier stages of trying to build a business or even figure out what they want to get into. What do you think would be the best method? I guess there's no real best method, but what path do you think would be an efficient path to go through while going down the road of being an entrepreneur?
It's a loaded question. One, I don't know why, but one quote that's immediately jumping to mind is, don't let your weekend be your weekend. Meaning that, like, a lot of people will go hard during their business or for example, if you're just starting out a business, you're working very hard for your company Monday to Friday. And then during the weekend, you're like, oh, I'm really tired. I don't have time to work on myself. That's your opportunity to start getting ahead.
Yes.
You need to get also being comfortable with uncomfortable situations. A lot of the times you're gonna be put in different situations where you have no idea how to make it forward, but you just keep taking small steps. You have to be very comfortable with yourself, and you have to also understand when somebody is giving you real advice and when somebody is just projecting their own fears onto you. Jay-Z has a saying about how I think it was his uncle or somebody, told him about, you'll never sell 1 million records. He says, I sold 1 million records 1 million times. And that comes because it's not that his uncle didn't believe in him. It was just his uncle didn't believe that was possible for anyone, let alone family. So I love you enough not to feel like I want you to waste your own time. And you need to look at that person.
I think it was projected fear of his own fear, right?
But again, like he said, that's what it was, is projection of his own fear, because he couldn't see it for anyone, let alone his own, nephew.
So with that in mind, I think it's really important that, what made me successful and got me the level that I'm at now is that I'm always looking for feedback. I ask my clients, what did you like? What did you not like? You need to be asking for feedback to make sure that you're on the right track, because depending on what type of business you're trying to start, at the end of the day, for you to have a successful business, you're not going to be your customer. So I think a lot of businesses fail by trying to assume what the customer wants rather than just asking, Sonny, what do you want? What do you feel like is missing that I can bring to the table? Well, I've been doing this for X amount of years and I feel like I haven't seen anything like this. Okay, cool, I'll do that right now. And that's the beautiful thing when you become an entrepreneur, is that you do not need to have 50 people CC'd an email to make a decision. You have your small team, you come up with an idea, everybody says yes, even if some people say no, majority rule, and you move and you action it, right? So I think you need to have a lot of grit. You need to be able to, like I said, be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable. You need to be not scared to fail. And that's one of the biggest strengths that I have, is that I'm not scared to fail. And I've failed many, many times. I've failed more times than I've succeeded, which says a lot given the fact that we have the gym that we have now. So you being able to persevere, understand that it's going to be long hours and long weeks and it's going to be a long time. But at the same time, it's going to be worth it. And if you continuously absorb the environment around you, ask questions, ask for feedback, put those doubts, because you're always going to have doubts. I've got doubts all the time. But don't give in to them, because everybody has them. And a lot of people don't realize that there's many successful people out there that, did not believe what they were doing until basically the world validated it. I opened up this gym and it could have just been me and myself and I staring at the walls. But people coming in continuously on a regular basis validates the building itself and validates it's not a building itself, just the brand, the brands, and the network and the amount of people that we have all working together to have a collaborative effort. So I'd say, and on a note that, like I said, believe in yourself, strive for yourself, be kind to yourself, because if you make a mistake and you fall flat on your face, what's going to make you a better entrepreneur is learning from that rather than not giving up. You see so many successful businesses that could have been successful had the person not given up over the failure. When it comes to Unity, I've been looking at a spot for over 2.5 years. I was with somebody that was a real estate agent, and I say that because she was looking and looking and looking and looking and could not find something for me, and I kept trying and trying and trying. And when you put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears into something, and you still cannot find something, it's like, okay, but maybe this is a sign. Maybe it's going to be doing that. But if I gave up, then we wouldn't be sitting here right now. You'd have somebody else sitting in this chair.
100%.
Right? Because we met at a networking event that was held at the gym.
Yeah.
A space that, was a collaborative effort for years and years and years to come. So I say that you want to invest your time, your energy, your money, be willing to sacrifice, and then most importantly, also learn to have fun. Don't look at the goal as a destination. You have to fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with I can't wait to go home and make a logo. I can't wait to go home and pick colorway for the tracksuits. I can't wait to go home and pick out equipment that we're going to put into the gym. Rather than figuring out, okay, we need to open by this date. It's not going to happen that way. And just because you want something to happen on your own accord does not mean it's going to happen. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to lose. You're going to have to fail and fail and fail. And then one time you're going to win. You're going to learn from that win. You're going to keep building. So
exactly.
That's what I would say for man.
Hey, it's Ryan. It was a great podcast. It gave us a lot of gems. We learned a lot about entrepreneurship. We've learned a lot about unity. As a matter of fact, could you tell people where they can find you on all the platforms and where you're located?
Absolutely. So we're located at Warden and Eglinton, which is in Scarborough. Our address is
Toronto. We're in Toronto, Ontario.
Toronto, Ontario. Yes, in Canada. Our address is 30 Bertrand. On Instagram, our social is unity.to. On Facebook, we're Unity Toronto. Same for YouTube. We're on there as well. Websites, www.unity-toronto.com. Can't miss it, purple logo. And, all of our colorways, purple, it makes us stand out. So in that aspect. And I also want to give kudos to you guys because you guys have an incredible platform.
Thanks.
You asked very intelligent questions. The conversation flowed very, very well. You guys have built up something that should be recognized too as well. And you guys should be given flowers in your own craft. So
thanks.
you guys did a great job.
For the podcast, bro.
Great job.
This is a great podcast. Yeah, a lot of gems, like you said, a lot of gems were dropped in this podcast. And again, all I got to say is that, hopefully your business gets to the point where you want it to reach, hopefully sky's the limit for you. And obviously you have a good head on your shoulders, you have that mentality that you're going to be pushing. And I see big things for you, brother. I see big things for you. Yeah.
Keep pushing.
Likewise. Hope to have this interview a year from now when we're both on different stages. So,
yes, sir, man. Far from normal. That's what we do.
From normal.
Yes, sir.
And we are out. Deuces.
Deuces.
Where you make me feel, I'm just trying to get my